I was the girl who was always second best, a permanent joke. The golden girl always took first place. Every exam, every competition. She was Melody Hale, the jewel of one of the city's most powerful families. And me, I was the housekeeper's daughter. My mother scrubbed their marble floors while I studied by the dim light of our tiny apartment. I refused to let that be my fate. So, when the exchange system appeared before me, I made a choice that would change everything. Congratulations, host. You are now bound to the exchange system. You have one chance to make an exchange. One chance? I asked. Can I trade anything, even my final exam scores? Yes, please state your exchange target. Melody Hale, but I didn't want her grades. I wanted something far more valuable. As soon as I said her name, I caught Melody's reaction. From across the courtyard, her hands curled into fists, and her gaze burned with the same polished cruelty I'd seen 100 times before. So, the rumors were true. She could hear my conversations with the system. My mother, who worked for the Hales, had always taken Melody's side no matter what. Miss Melody was born with everything. Stop embarrassing yourself by trying to compete with her, she would say, when Melody's friends locked me in a bathroom stall and left me bruised. My mother didn't comfort me. She scolded me. You must have done something to provoke her. You should be grateful to Hales even let you near their daughter. You were born nothing. Stop pretending you're special. For years, I convinced myself she acted that way to keep her job, that she didn't mean the words she threw at me. Then the live comments appeared before my eyes, glowing lines of text floating in the air like a cruel revelation. Poor girl. She's the true heiress, swapped at birth out of spite, that housekeeper she calls mother. That's actually Melody's real mom. True heiress. Please, she deserves it for trying to cheat her way to the top. Melody knew about the exchange and tanked her own exam on purpose. Now the fake heiress has nothing. Just wait until her real family takes her back. They'll regret ever finding her. Melody will shine brighter than ever. While this one ends up miserable and forgotten, maybe even dead, depressed, forgotten, taking her own life. If that's the story they expected, they were in for a shock. Because I never wanted Melody Hale's exam scores. I was after something far more powerful. During the break between classes, Melody strutted over to my desk with her trademark smirk. "Pearl Stone," she drawled, her tone dripping with mock sympathy. "Still stuck in second place. Want me to give you some pointers? I could teach you a thing or two." Pearl Stone, that cursed name my mother insisted on giving me. I'd once begged her to change it, saying it sounded dull, like something made to be ridiculed. She had sneered. "You think you're too good for the name I gave you? You brought bad luck the moment you were born, killed your father in childbirth, and I was still kind enough to name you Pearl. You should be grateful. Because of that name, Melody's friends made my life hell. They would corner me in the bathroom laughing as they tried to dunk my head into a toilet. Pearlstone? How fitting. Let's see if the water brings out your shine." And through it all, Melody would stand nearby, that same cruel little smile on her lips. The same smile she wore now. I kept my eyes down and replied quietly, "No, thank you, Miss Hale. You should focus on your own studies. I wouldn't want to waste your valuable time." Her smirk widened. She thought I was confirming her suspicions that I planned to use the exchange system to steal her results. Leaning closer, she whispered as if sharing a secret. "I won't be coming back to school after today. The teachers here are too slow. My parents hired 5 top-tier tutors to prepare me for the finals. By the time exams roll around, the gap between us will be massive." Her arrogance was almost theatrical, and the live comments erupted instantly. "Our Melody is brilliant, pretending to study harder just to bait the fake heiress. This is a master move. She's not studying at all, though. She's about to take a long vacation while the other one drives herself insane." Hilarious. Who needs grades when you're a Hale? She could buy her way into any school she wants. And as the comments predicted, Melody vanished from school completely. A week later, following a tip from the floating messages, I saw her myself. Not buried in textbooks, but dancing at a club downtown under flickering lights, surrounded by boys with bleached hair and too much cologne. She laughed and drank until she stumbled into the night. When she disappeared into a cheap motel with one of them, I turned away in silence. We were both adults. Everyone had to live with their choices. Mine was to keep my head down and study. With her gone, the school halls finally felt quiet. For the first time, I could breathe still. I knew her spies watched me, so I played the part she expected, slouching in class, pretending not to care, leaving early with fake boredom. But every evening, I locked myself in an empty classroom and studied until the janitors turned off the lights. If Melody wanted a game, I would play it too. Only this time, I already knew. The ending finals day arrived with a great chill of early winter. I walked to the testing center alone. Near the gate, I spotted her immediately. Melody Hale, radiant and glowing in the middle of a small crowd. Her parents were there, and so was mine. Fiona Stone, who stood fussing over Melody's uniform and handing her snacks as if she were her own daughter. Fiona hadn't looked at me that way once in my life. For 6 to 8 months before the exam, she hadn't even come home. While I survived on instant noodles in our rundown apartment, she lived at the Hale Mansion, cooking Melody's meals and planning her study schedule. She hadn't left me a cent. It should have hurt, but I'd stopped expecting love from her a long time ago. If anything, her absence made it easier to breathe. When she was home, she'd always find a reason to drag me away from my books, barking orders, calling me useless, afraid I might one day outshine the girl she adored. I never understood why she despised me so much until the comments appeared, until I saw them hovering in my vision, revealing truths that no one else could see. Poor girl. Her own mother treats her worse than a stranger, and when she finally meets her real family, they'll reject her too. She's doomed to live unloved. Who cares? She tried to cheat the system first. Melody's just giving her what she deserved. Wait, are we sure she's still planning to swap scores? She's been studying non-stop while Melody's out partying. Something feels off. A faint smile tugged at my lips. Finally, someone understood. But Melody caught that smile and twisted it into something else. "Pearl Stone," she called, waving with exaggerated cheer. Her voice carried over the crowd, drawing curious stares and snickers. "What's got you smiling? Feeling confident?" I stayed calm. "I'm ready. How about you?" "Of course," she replied with a laugh. "After all, I had the best tutors money can buy. Don't tell me you actually think you can beat me." Her tone dripped with mockery. She still thought she was setting the trap. "You should do your best, Melody," I said softly. Her grin sharpened. "Don't worry, I will for you." At that moment, Fiona rushed over, planting herself between us like a guard dog. "Pearl Stone, don't you dare distract Miss Melody before her exam. Get out of her sight." Then Mr. and Mrs. Hale stepped forward, their eyes raking over me with thinly veiled disgust. "Melody, darling," Mrs. Hale said sweetly, "don't waste time talking to people like that. You'll lose your focus." So this was it, my first meeting with my real parents, and they looked at me like I was a stain on their perfect picture. But thanks to the comments, I already knew what kind of family they were. So I didn't flinch. I didn't even look back. I just walked toward the exam hall, shoulders square, heart steady. 18 years of humiliation and quiet endurance led to this moment. And this time, I was going to win. Inside the exam hall, everything else faded away. The ticking clock, the shifting chairs, the nervous sighs all vanished until there was only me, the paper, and the steady scratch of my pen. When the final bell rang, I kept my pen slowly, the way a soldier might sheath the blade after battle. Meanwhile, the live comments kept flashing across my vision, buzzing with their usual nonsense. Our Queen Melody is so relaxed she actually fell asleep during the test, even drooled a little. Adorable. Can't wait to see the side character's face when the scores swap. Go Melody. Hold on. The other girl hasn't stopped writing once. She doesn't look like someone planning to cheat. Their chatter didn't distract me. It only confirmed what I already knew. Melody hadn't listened. She'd walked right into the ending she'd written for herself. After the exam, our homeroom teacher gathered everyone for a quick score prediction. Melody jumped in first. 710, she announced brightly. A murmur ran through the room. Even our teacher's eyebrows shot up. That's incredible, Melody. You've never scored that high in any mock exam. She flashed me a victorious smile. Guess I finally outdid myself, she said sweetly, then tilted her head. How about you, Pearl? What's your estimate? Roughly the same, I replied. Her laughter filled the room. You the same as me? That's a bold claim for someone who's never beaten me once. I met her gaze evenly. That's right. Melody's smile turned sharp. To her, this was proof of her genius that I was laying the groundwork to justify the supposed score swap. Well then, she said in mock delight, looks like one of us will be the next state scholar. My father will love this. We'll make it a live event on results day. cameras, interviews, the works. She paused, her eyes locking onto mine. You don't mind, do you, Pearlstone? Mind? Not at all. That was exactly what I wanted, especially since I already knew what would happen that day. The same day Fiona Stone planned to parade me in front of the Hales as their long-lost daughter. Weeks crawled by heavy with anticipation. By the time results day arrived, the air itself felt charged. The classroom overflowed with people, students, teachers, parents, and a small army of reporters that Melody had personally summoned. Thanks to her self-promotion, everyone expected to witness history, the crowning of the Hale family's prodigy. The live comments buzzed nonstop. Melody's spot at Harvard is already guaranteed. This is just a formality. The side character's about to embarrass herself in front of the whole city. I can't wait. Even if she's taken in by the Hales, she'll still be the family disgrace. Melody will win in every way. Around me, students began logging in to check their scores. 621. Just like I guessed, 568. My essay tanked 640, yes, only 535. The room was alive with noise, flashes, and nervous laughter until the cameras finally turned toward Melody and me. A reporter asked, "We heard. 2 students predicted 710. Have you checked your results yet?" Melody's lips curved into a confident smirk. Let's find out. She entered her login PIN, pressed submit, and froze. Then the screen lit up with a single number. 0. The room erupted. What? A 0? That can't be right. Melody's never failed anything. Maybe it's a glitch, or they're hiding the top scorers. But Melody didn't look surprised. She straightened slowly and turned to me with a cool, knowing expression. "Pearlstone," she said loudly enough for everyone to hear, "you're even more despicable than I thought. I knew you'd cheat, but I didn't expect you to actually swap our scores." The crowd fell silent. 3 months ago, she continued, her voice rising, I found out Pearlstone was using some kind of system, a method to exchange results. She's always been jealous, desperate to take what's mine. So, I set a trap. I said I score 710, and she fell right into it. Cameras clicked like gunfire. Reporters whispered, eager to feed the flames. Someone laughed nervously. "That's ridiculous. How could anyone swap scores?" Melody ignored them. She stood tall, radiating righteous fury. "That 0 isn't mine, it's hers. She used her trick, but it backfired." I stood up slowly, pushing my glasses up the bridge of my nose. "Melody," I said calmly, "failing isn't the end of the world. You can always retake the exams, but making up stories to cover it, that's pathetic." Her face flushed. "You know, it's not a story to do," I said softly, "because I saw you myself at that club downtown with those men you called friends. You weren't exactly studying, were you?" Gasps rippled through the room. Melody's composure cracked for the briefest second before she forced a laugh. "I went out because I refused to work hard just to hand my score over to you. I don't need grades to succeed. I'm a Hale. I can get into any university in the world." Right on cue, the classroom door opened. Mr. and Mrs. Hale walked in, Fiona Stone trailing behind them with a proud, foolish grin. Mr. Hale spoke with calm authority. "That's correct. Our daughter has already been recommended by Harvard. We're finalizing arrangements now." The comments flared to life again. The Hales are unstoppable. They're donating a building just to ensure Melody's place at Harvard. The side character can't compete with that kind of power. Melody's confidence returned in full force. "Pearlstone," she said, turning to me. "If you're so sure I'm lying, prove it. Check your score. If yours is also 0, everyone will know I was right all along." Every pair of eyes in the room turned toward me, burning with curiosity, doubt, and anticipation. "Go on, Pearl," someone whispered. "Show us." I smiled faintly. "All right," I said, moving toward the computer. "Let's end this." I enter my student ID and press submit. The spinning icon on the screen seemed to last forever. Melody was practically leaning over my shoulder, tense and eager, eyes wide with anticipation. Then the results appeared. The classroom went silent for half a heartbeat. And then gasps erupted all around. The score box was blank. In its place was a single line of red text. "Your results rank in the top 50 of the state and have been temporarily withheld. Redirected." Our homeroom teacher shot up from his chair so fast, it toppled backward with a loud crash. Reporters surged forward, microphones and cameras aimed at the screen like vultures sending blood. The color drained from Melody's face. She swayed, her lips trembling. No, that can't be. It's not possible. I looked up slowly, adjusting my glasses, my tone calm but edged with quiet satisfaction. So, who's lying now? The online chat exploded. Wait, what? Weren't the scores supposed to be switched? Then why isn't hers a 0? Oh my god, does that mean she's in the top 50 or even number 1? Melody really invited the whole media circus for this. Talk about a turnaround. Just then my phone rang. I answered and a warm male voice came through. Hello? Is this Miss Stone? I'm Professor Lee from Princeton University. Congratulations on your remarkable results. We'd love to meet you in person. Are you at home or school? We should arrive in about an hour. I spoke evenly, though the room was buzzing around me. Since you already know the results, Professor, could you tell me my score and ranking? Of course, he replied cheerfully. You achieved a total of 718, placing you first in the entire state on behalf of Princeton. Allow me to say we would be honored to have you. The chat feed went ballistic. What? She's the top scorer in the whole state. She used to be second place every time. How did she pull this off? Melody just handed her the perfect stage. Karma really came fast. Before I could react, Melody lunged at me, grabbing my wrist so hard her nails dug in. What did you do? The system only allowed one exchange. Did you switch the target behind my back? I pulled free with a sharp twist. Melody, when will you stop blaming everyone else for your failures? Why is it so hard to believe that I worked for this score? Before I could finish, Fiona shoved through the crowd, her hand already raised. You ungrateful brat! How dare you talk to Miss Melody like that? Do you think someone like you could ever earn the top score? You must have cheated. I stepped aside before her hand could connect, letting out a cold, humorless laugh. Cheated on what? She slept through her exam. What could I possibly steal from that? Fiona's face twisted with rage. You must have done something dirty. There's no way you beat Melody fairly. You were always beneath her. Looking at her, I felt a strange calm wash over Melody. For 18 years, I had begged for her love, her approval, even a single kind word. Now, all I saw was a bitter woman clinging to her favorite child's ruined pride. You want to know what's wrong? I said quietly, my voice slicing through the chaos. It's not that I wasn't capable of being first. It's that every time I came close, you beat me, screamed at me, and locked me away without food. You made sure I stayed small because you couldn't stand to see me outshine her. I met her eyes directly, my voice low but unshakable. Because Melody is your real daughter, and I'm not. My gaze drifted toward the pale, shell-shocked faces of Mr. and Mrs. Hale. I'm the one who was supposed to be born into the Hale family? Melody's shrill voice cut through the tension. Pearl Stone, stop making things up! But Fiona didn't even flinch. Her expression was unnervingly calm, her eyes gleaming with a greedy, almost triumphant light. This was her moment. Everything she had plotted for 18 years, raising Melody in luxury while using me as the decoy, was finally about to pay off. She smoothed the worn sleeve of her blouse, her tone almost casual. And what if it's true the hospital switched our babies by mistake? Is it a crime for me to care for my real daughter? The blood drained from Mrs. Hale's face. Her hand clutched the pearl necklace at her throat until her knuckles turned white. Fiona, that's not something to joke about. But even as she spoke, she instinctively drew Melody closer. Fiona straightened her back and let out a bitter laugh. I'm not joking. If you don't believe me, go run a DNA test. Melody is my biological child, and now that she's grown up and has her ticket to Harvard, it's only fair she looks after her real mother. Melody froze. The color vanished from her cheeks. She shook her head violently, tears spilling down her face. No, I'm not your daughter. I refuse to be. You treated Pearl like dirt. You hit her. You humiliated her. Being your child is a curse. Fiona's forced smile faltered. Desperation flashed in her eyes as she plastered on another grin. Melody, darling, don't say that. I've taken care of you for 18 years. I cooked your meals, washed your clothes, made your favorite soups every night. That's love. That's family. Not like that ungrateful brat over there. Her eyes flicked to me, venomous and cold. Just looking at her disgusted me. That's enough. Mr. Hale's voice boomed across the room, his expression dark. To insult me was to insult his own bloodline, though he didn't know it yet. But before he could speak further, Melody collapsed into a sobbing mess. Mom, Dad, please don't leave me. I'm scared. Sweetheart, we're right here. Mrs. Hale hugged her tightly, her own voice breaking. No matter what happens, you'll always be our daughter. We'll never abandon you." Mr. Hale nodded firmly. "That's right. We raised you. Nothing can change that." And just like that, they encircled her, shielding her from the world as if nothing else existed. Fiona stood nearby, nodding approvingly, handing tissues like she belonged in their circle. And I, their real child, the one who had lived a lifetime of neglect, stood off to the side, a forgotten extra in my own story. Sunlight poured through the classroom window, drawing a golden outline around everyone else. Yet none of its warmth reached me. The live stream chat scrolled wildly. "Even if she's not the real Aris, we still love Melody. This is heartbreaking. Pearl's parents don't even look at her. She's the state scholar. Doesn't she deserve at least one kind word?" Even some of the teachers exchanged uneasy looks. Our homeroom teacher tried to smooth things over. "Well, this is good news in a way. One of you is a top scholar, the other's going to Harvard. Both have bright futures." "It's not the same," I interrupted quietly but firmly. "She's going to Harvard because of the Hales' money. I got where I am because of my own effort. Without the Hales, could she get in on her own?" Melody's face crumpled and she turned to Mrs. Hale, tears spilling again. "Mom, Dad, Harvard costs so much. I don't deserve it anymore. Maybe I should just get a job. Pay you back for raising me." "Nonsense," Mr. Hale said, cutting her off. "You're our daughter. Of course, we'll send you." He exchanged a resolute look with his wife. The tears stopped almost instantly. A single drop still clung to her lashes, but her eyes glinted with quiet triumph as she looked straight at me. The message was clear, even as the real one. "You'll never replace me." Watching that smug, fragile performance, I couldn't help but smile. System awaiting command. "I want to make an exchange. Target Melody Hale. What would you like to exchange?" My eyes lingered on the cozy little tableau in front of me, the couple embracing their fake daughter Fiona hovering greedily beside them, and my smile widened sharp and cold. "I want to exchange Melody Hale's family." The words echoed in my mind, and the air itself seemed to freeze. The arms that had been wrapped protectively around Melody stiffened. The warmth in the Hale's eyes faded, replaced by confusion and then dawning recognition. Mr. Hale released her and turned toward me, his expression softening into something I had never seen before. Love, regret, pride. "Pearl, my daughter, you've suffered far too long." Mrs. Hale staggered forward, her trembling hands reaching for my face. "These eyes, this smile. You look just like me when I was young." Tears shimmered in her eyes. "How could we not have seen it before?" Melody went deathly pale, her trembling hands shot out, her voice cracking. "No, the system. It's the system. She used it to steal you from me." She lunged toward them, desperate, clawing at their clothes. "Mommy, Daddy, don't listen to her. She's lying. She used that curse system to make you forget me." Slap. The sound cracked through the room like thunder. Fiona's palm struck Melody hard across the face, leaving a perfect red imprint. "Shut up, you shameless brat. You stole Pearl's life for 18 years. It's about time things were set right." Melody stumbled back, clutching her cheek, eyes wide with disbelief. A few minutes ago, Fiona had been pampering her. Now she looked ready to tear her apart. Mr. and Mrs. Hale stood motionless, their faces cold and unreadable. "She's right," Mr. Hale said at last. "You lived as Pearl for 18 years, and instead of showing gratitude, you grew arrogant and cruel. We thought you were our pride, but we were wrong." The word Harvard flickered in Melody's mind like a dying candle. Her entire future was slipping through her fingers. Her voice trembled as she changed tactics, tears streaming again. "Mom, Dad, I know I did terrible things, but I'm sorry. I'll give everything back to Pearl. Just please let me study abroad, please." The classroom erupted in gasps. Cameras flashed nonstop. The live stream comment feed scrolled so fast it was unreadable. This is insane. Total reversal. So the score swap was just a smokescreen. This was her real plan. Honestly, she deserves this. 18 years of stolen life. This is justice. Can't wait to see what happens to Melody now. Through it all, the Hales turned toward me, their voices gentle. "Pearl, dear," Mrs. Hale said softly. "What do you think? Should we still send her abroad?" I stared coldly at Melody's crocodile tears. Who is she to call me sister? Funny how she remembers that word now when she forgot it while shoving my head into a toilet. "What?" Fiona exploded. She sees Melody again, ready to strike. You little snake. I raised Pearl with my own 2 hands. And you dare to bully her? She's a real lady. And you're nothing. The Hale's faces darkened. Mr. Hale grasped my arm, his hand trembling slightly. Pearl, is that true? Did she really bully you? Mrs. Hale's eyes brimmed with tears of guilt and regret. Realizing the tide had turned completely, Melody panicked. She leaned toward me, her voice low and desperate. Pearlstone, just let me go. I know you used the system. If you help me get into a school abroad, I won't tell anyone what you did. Tell anyone? I laughed, sharp and humorless. Everything you ever had should have been mine. I didn't steal anything. I just took back what belonged to me. I pulled a small flash drive from my bag. It held months of evidence, security footage from outside the girls' bathroom, and several audio recordings. On the screen, Melody and her friends could be seen shoving me inside. Then came her shrill voice. Pearlstone, today you're going to find out what a toilet really tastes like. Laughter followed, then my own muffled cries. The reporters went wild. Flash after flash lit the room. The live stream viewer count skyrocketed. State scholar bullied in at school shot straight to the top of trending topics. Melody's face turned ashen. She stared at me, eyes burning with raw hatred. Fiona grabbed a fistful of her hair and slammed her head against the floor. You stupid girl. I went through hell to get you into a rich family, and this is what you learned. These cheap, disgusting tricks. Mr. Hale's expression hardened into stone. Disgust was the only thing left in his eyes. We invested so much in you, and this is the result. We even considered sending you abroad out of sentiment for the years we spent together. Now I see it would be a complete waste. He turned away. The matter of studying abroad is officially closed. Mom, Dad. Melody crawled to his feet, sobbing. She bewitched you. She used the exchange system to steal your love. Silence. Mr. Hale's voice was cold and final. We are not your parents. We could never raise a child this vicious. Not by blood, not by choice. Fiona yanked Melody up by the arm and started dragging her toward the door. Stop embarrassing yourself and get home. You've got chores to do. The once glamorous girl, hair tangled and makeup streaked, was hauled out of the classroom like a stray dog under the glare of 100 cameras. The comments exploded. How did the story end up like this? So, the main character not only got a 0 on her finals, she's not going to Harvard either. Wasn't the side character supposed to end up depressed and alone? Wait, does this mean she was letting Melody win of all these years? So, what happens to Melody now? How is she supposed to be the protagonist? Protagonist? Please. Everything she had was stolen from Pearl in the first place. This isn't tragedy. It's justice. Then the door burst open again. Admissions officers from Princeton and Yale hurried in holding scholarship agreements. Pearl, Princeton would like to offer you a full scholarship. Yale can provide direct mentorship under a Nobel laureate. Mr. and Mrs. Hale stood proudly beside me, faces glowing. This is our daughter, the one we finally found. She suffered so much. From now on, we'll give her nothing but the best. They turned to me, gentle and expectant. Is there anything you want? Sweetheart? I considered for a moment. You were planning to donate a building to get Melody into Harvard. Since that's no longer necessary, perhaps that money could be my reward instead. They exchanged a look, then nodded immediately. Of course, that fund was always meant for our daughter's education. You are our daughter. Consider it your prize for becoming the state scholar. I smiled faintly and leaned into their embrace. The cameras clicked in rapid succession, capturing the perfect ending. The comments surged once more. Oh my God, the Harvard Building Fund just became her personal bonus. This story is unreal. It's completely over for Melody now. Pearl took back everything, status, justice, and fortune. The ultimate reversal. But wait, that love came from the system. It's not real. How can she taint the sacred bond of family like that? Taint? I laughed silently. I did it in exchange for their love because I craved it. Years of surviving in the slums had taught me one. To climb out of the mud, you have to be ruthless. You have to use every tool, every weapon, every opportunity. Everything I wanted, I would fight for myself. Someone like me who had only ever known cruelty and disappointment stopped believing in family long ago. What I wanted was money, power, freedom, the capital to build my own empire. Exchanging for their love was never about affection. It was simply the most efficient way to win. The chaos of day turned me into an overnight sensation. News outlets went into a frenzy, headlines growing more dramatic by the hour. State scholar revealed as a to hail fortune. Parents award her 9-figure prize. The dark truth of a swap at birth. Real heiress endured years of abuse from fake daughter. The mix of academic brilliance and high society scandal was irresistible. My story spread like wildfire. I seized the moment. Using the attention as leverage, I built my social media presence and quickly gained millions of followers. I didn't know how long the affection I had exchanged through the system would last. If I wanted to secure my place in the Hale family, I had to become indispensable. With a media storm as my tailwind, I turned myself into a brand. My first public act was to live stream a visit to the city records office, where I officially changed my name from Pearl Stone to Pearl Hale. One word, one signature, and my entire life changed. Thousands congratulated me on my new beginning. I was accepted into Princeton as promised. My next step was to enter Hale Corporation and begin my conquest of power. Meanwhile, Melody's life took a very different turn. Fiona forced her through tears, shouting, and threats to change her name to Melody Stone. Melody wanted to retake her exams and start over. Fiona had other plans. She arranged a marriage to a local deadbeat from their old neighborhood, the same man she had once intended for me. Her goal was the same as before, to use a miserable marriage to squeeze money out of the Hales. I heard that on the day of the wedding, Melody tried to run, but Fiona had already accepted the bride price. She beat Melody with a wooden rod until she was bruised from head to toe, then shoved her into the wedding car. I took a huge risk getting you into that mansion. And what did I get? Nothing. She screamed. You ruined everything with your 0 results. At least if I marry you off now, I can get a good price. But this time, Melody fought back. She grabbed the rod from Fiona's hands and swung with everything she had. The blow connected with Fiona's temple. Fiona collapsed like a snapped reed and never got up again. She was pronounced dead on arrival at the hospital. Melody didn't have to get married anymore. But she was charged with intentional injury leading to death. The court ruled it excessive self-defense and sentenced her to 7 years in prison. When Mr. and Mrs. Hale heard the news, they only frowned. Then they turned to me, pulling me into a gentle embrace. "Oh, Pearl," they sighed. "Thank goodness we found you. If we hadn't, who knows what kind of horrors you would have faced." I smiled faintly, realizing something then. If not for the system, their affection would have been just as shallow as their pity. So, I worked harder. I absorbed every lesson, every resource, every advantage. I grew sharper, stronger, until I no longer needed the system to hold my place in their hearts. Even if that love had been mine to begin with, I started interning at Hale Corp my freshman year. By graduation, I was already a rising executive. People called me the young Miss Hale. 7 years later, when Melody was released from prison, I held full control of the corporation. By then, the affection I had exchanged for all those years ago had begun to fade. The warmth in my parents' eyes cooled into something more reserved, more calculating. Sometimes when they looked at me, I caught a flicker of that old familiar doubt. The same look they'd once given me as Pearl Stone. Perhaps the magic was wearing off, but it didn't matter. Hale Corp was mine now. My power, my reputation, my empire, all built by my own hands. The public no longer saw the Hales when they thought of the company. They saw me. I was Hale Corporation. No one could take that from me. I've done a total 180 on Pearl Hale. Watching her rise has been incredible. She's my role model now. What happened to Melody Stone? Did the protagonist of the story change? The familiar font of the live comments floated faintly in my vision, barely visible now, almost transparent. Melody's protagonist halo had completely vanished in my life, was finally irrevocably in my own hands. I stood before the floor-to-ceiling windows of my office on the top floor of Hale Tower, the city glowing beneath me. My reflection stared back. A woman in a sharp suit, steady smile, calm and confident. "Miss Hale?" My assistant's respectful voice came from behind me. "The board meeting is about to begin." My heels struck a decisive rhythm across the marble floor as I turned to go. In the story of my life, the one I was now writing myself, there were no side characters, only ambition, only empires to build. And my conquest had only just begun.